All right, so this was the warm up for yesterday, April 6th. And so if I'm reading this first question right here, Cho is driving east from San Francisco along Route 80. The graph represents the relationship between the time that Cho has driven and the distance that she has driven. So time is here, total distance is here. So how far does Cho drive in 5 hours? Well, I go to 5 hours on here, which is right in between there, and then I go straight up, and then I can go across, and I see that it is, so one part A is 300 miles. Okay. Then two says, how fast is Cho driving? And I can kind of see that. I can kind of see that. I want to look at those. So it looks like it was 120 miles in 2 hours. And it looks, and from the last question, it was 300 miles in 5 hours. And when I do a rate, like how fast someone's going, it's a distance versus a time. And so it's miles per hour normally. And so I could divide that by two, I could divide that by two, and then I would get 60 miles per hour. Just to double check here, I could divide this by five. I could divide this by five, and I would get 60 miles per hour. And so for one part B, my answer should be 60 miles per hour. Okay. Then C says, write an equation to determine the number of hours that Cho drives for any number of hours. Be sure to define your variables. So we could say for C, let's say let H or let X be the number of hours. If you have a different variable, that's fine. I like to think of this, since we're graphing it, this would be X, and this, see how it says hours? It's the dependent variable. I'm sorry, my bad. It's the independent variable. You choose how many miles to drive for. Then the dependent variable is the Y variable. And so let Y be how far Cho traveled. Okay. And like I said, you could use different variables there. I'm just lining it up with what's on the graph here after thinking about it for a little bit. And so if you go 60 miles for every hour, you take 60 times the number of miles times the number of hours that you were driving for. And then that's going to equal the total distance that you traveled. And so for C, this is my equation that I should have had. Okay. For two, solve each equation using any method. All right. So you have x over 3 plus 2 equals 14. So I would subtract 2 from both sides. Then I would have x over 3 equals 12. And x over 3 is the same as a division problem, so I would use the inverse operation. So I would multiply both sides by 3. When I do that, I get x on the left side, I get 36 on the right side. I could check my work by substituting the variable x divided by 3 plus 2 equals 14. 36 divided by 3 plus 2 equals 14. 36 divided by 3 is 12 plus 2 equals 14. 14 does equal 14, so I'm a happy camper. Part B. Part B has 6 times n minus 13 equals 27. Okay. Add 13 to both sides, inverse operation, keep everything balanced. Then 6 times n is going to equal 40. Then this is multiplication. I'd use the inverse operation. I would divide both sides by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1, or just n on the left side. 40 divided by 6 is going to be 6 with a remainder of 4. So it would be 6 and 4/6, which I could rewrite as 6 and 2/3 in lowest terms. Okay. Again, I can check my answer. 6 times n minus 13 should equal 27. 6 times 6 and 2/3 minus 13 equals 27. For this problem right here, it would be 40 over 6 times 6, and that's going to be 1, and that's going to be 40 over 1, and that's going to be 40 minus 13 equals 27, and 40 minus 10 is 30, minus 3 more is 27. 27 does equal 27, so I am a happy camper. Okay, and so this is the warm-up from yesterday, and yeah, and so here we go. We need to start checking our work to make sure we're doing what's right. So if you're doing your best each and every day, you're going to do all right. If you're trying your best with the book work, if you're trying your best in the warm-ups, if you're trying your best in the exit slips, and you're checking to make sure that you have about what I'm having as I start to check answers with you, then you're going to be getting better. And that's what we want here. We want you all getting better.